In July of 1909, off the treacherous coast of South Africa, a massive state-of-the-art steamship with 201 souls aboard vanished without a trace. Not a single distress signal, not a splinter of wreckage, not a solitary life vest was ever found. But here's the chilling part. Just before it disappeared, multiple witnesses saw a ghost ship, a vessel eerily similar to the one that would soon be lost, sailing in the opposite direction. What did they see? And why, over a century later, does the fate of the SS Waratah remain one of the most perplexing and utterly forgotten maritime mysteries of all time? To unravel this maritime enigma, we must first understand the vessel itself. The SS Waratah was no ordinary ship. Launched in 1908, it was designed to be the pinnacle of luxury and efficiency for the Australia to England route, a jewel in the crown of the Lund's Blue Anchor Line. At over 460 feet long, with a gross tonnage exceeding 9,300, it boasted two powerful quadruple expansion engines, twin screws, and state-of-the-art wireless telegraphy. Picture this: luxurious cabins, spacious decks, and a reputation for stability, even in rough seas. It was, by all accounts, a marvel of Edwardian engineering, intended to carry both passengers and highly valuable cargo, including thousands of tons of concentrate containing zinc, lead, and silver from Australia to London. Its maiden voyage had been hailed a success, though some minor issues had been noted, a tendency to roll in certain conditions, for instance, but nothing that raised serious alarm bells. The ship's chief engineer, a seasoned veteran named Mr. W.C.S. Cowie, was even quoted saying it was the finest ship he had ever been on. The Waratah was considered unsinkable, a floating fortress against the perils of the deep. What could possibly fell such a colossus? This question would haunt maritime history for decades to come. Now, as the Waratah began its second, ill-fated return journey from Australia to the United Kingdom, certain strange premonitions and events began to unfold, casting a subtle, chilling pall over the voyage. One passenger, a businessman named Claude Glassford, disembarked during a stopover in Durban, South Africa. His reason? A vivid, terrifying dream he'd had aboard the ship. He recounted waking in a cold sweat, convinced he'd witnessed the Waratah sinking, with bodies floating all around him. He simply couldn't bring himself to reboard, despite the potential professional consequences. His premonition, dismissed as overactive imagination by many at the time, would soon take on a terrifying significance. Even more unsettling, Captain Ilbery, the Waratah's highly respected and experienced master, had allowed his entire family to travel with him on this very voyage, a highly unusual decision for a captain known for his meticulous adherence to protocol. Was this a sign of his confidence, or perhaps something else entirely? The ship's cargo manifest also contained an exceptionally heavy and poorly distributed load of metal concentrates, reportedly stacked high in its holds. There were whispers, later substantiated by some crew members, that the vessel felt top-heavy and was prone to listing. Some even claimed the Waratah handled like a lumbering elephant. These concerns, however, were seemingly overlooked in the rush to maintain schedules and maximize profitability. The ship departed Durban on July 26, 1909, making its way north along the South African coast towards Cape Town before heading across the Atlantic. It was due to make a coaling stop in Cape Town, but it never arrived. The last confirmed sighting of the SS Waratah occurred on the evening of July 26th, when it passed the steamer Clan McIntyre, roughly 60 miles from Port St. John's. The two ships exchanged signals, and the Waratah seemed to be proceeding normally, though visibility was fading. Then, a few hours later, something truly bizarre happened. The coastal steamer Union Castle Line's Gezira reported seeing a large steamer, possibly the Waratah, approximately 10 miles ahead, enveloped in thick smoke emanating from its funnels and obscured by a heavy squall. The Gezira lost sight of the vessel in the storm, and that was it. Almost immediately after, the weather turned violent, with hurricane-force winds and monstrous waves battering the coast. It was the last time anyone ever saw the SS Waratah. When it failed to arrive in Cape Town, alarm bells didn't instantly ring. Such delays were not uncommon, but as days turned into a week, then two, a profound dread settled over the shipping world. The mighty Waratah, with its 201 souls, had simply vanished into the vast, unforgiving ocean. The ensuing search was one of the largest and most intensive in maritime history for its era. Warships, passenger liners, and cargo vessels scoured hundreds of thousands of square miles of ocean from the South African coast out into the Atlantic. They found absolutely nothing: no wreckage, no lifeboats, no debris of any kind. It was as if the Waratah had been plucked from the sea, whole and entire, by some invisible, colossal hand. The very absence of evidence was perhaps the most frightening piece of all. It defied all logic, all accepted principles of catastrophe at sea. This absolute lack of physical evidence gave rise to some truly outlandish and utterly baffling theories. Yet one particularly persistent and chilling account emerged, adding another layer of unsettling mystery to the Waratah's already perplexing fate. Weeks after the Waratah's disappearance, a ship named the Kildonan Castle reported a ghostly encounter. Its captain, an experienced mariner, claimed that just days after the Waratah was lost, in the very area it was believed to have vanished, they passed a large steamer sailing directly towards them, shrouded in a strange, otherworldly haze. The ship bore an uncanny resemblance to the Waratah. Crew members, including the second officer and several lookouts, confirmed the sighting. They tried to signal the vessel, but it remained unresponsive, simply continuing on its course, seemingly without direction or human presence aboard. It was a silent, spectral apparition gliding through the waves. This wasn't an isolated incident. There were other reports, vague and unsubstantiated, but enough to fuel the growing legend of a ghost ship, forever sailing the waters in which it met its doom. Could the crew of the Kildonan Castle have seen the Waratah, perhaps in some impossible spectral form? Or was it simply the anxieties of the moment playing tricks on the eyes of weary seamen? Adding to the strange occurrences, months after the disappearance, an official inquiry was held in London. Expert witnesses testified about the ship's stability, its construction, and the known weather conditions. The inquiry ultimately concluded that the Waratah suffered some unknown catastrophic event, likely a capsize or structural failure exacerbated by the severe weather and potentially contributing to stability issues due to its cargo. But it left the how and why frustratingly unanswered. Rumors of explosions, rogue waves, even mutiny circulated in the absence of hard facts. Some theorized that the top-heavy cargo created a critical shift in the vessel's center of gravity during the violent storm, causing it to suddenly overturn and sink so rapidly that no distress signals could be sent. Others suggested a collision with a whale or a floating derelict, though again, the complete absence of wreckage made this difficult to prove. The most unsettling thought was that the ship may have simply broken apart under the immense strain of the storm, its pieces scattering across such a vast area that they were never recovered. To this day, the SS Waratah remains an unsolved riddle, a haunting testament to the unforgiving power of the ocean. Despite numerous subsequent searches, including those using advanced sonar and submersible technology, no definitive trace of the Waratah or its 211 souls has ever been found. It's as if the sea swallowed it whole, leaving no crumbs behind. The ghost ship sightings, the passengers' premonition, the baffling lack of debris, all contribute to a narrative that feels less like a historical event and more like a legend. Why has this profound mystery, involving so many lives and such a substantial vessel, faded from public memory compared to others? Perhaps its total disappearance, the very lack of a concrete disaster to mourn or analyze, makes it harder to grasp. The SS Waratah stands as a stark reminder that even with the greatest advancements of human ingenuity, nature can deliver a blow so decisive, so absolute, that it leaves only questions echoing through the years. What truly happened to the Waratah? We may never know, and perhaps that's the most terrifying aspect of all. If you want more spine-chilling historical disappearances like this, consider subscribing and checking out our next video on the baffling case of the Mary Celeste.